We take a look at some of the legal stories now making headlines. Attorney and Fox News contributor Jeremy Rosenthal joins us. Jeremy, good morning. Let's all of this talk from the United States about the Mexican drug cartels and how dangerous they are, and we can't allow immigrants from Mexico because they're so dangerous. Well, in a flip move, which you might argue is pretty brilliant, Mexico is now threatening legal action against the United States, right?
This is so this is the story here, and yeah, that's probably a good way to characterize it is sort of reversing thrusters here. Obviously, there's a really big cartel issue, a lot of violence in Mexico. There is one store in Mexico that is authorized by the Mexican government to sell weapons, and the cartel is saying, guys, the millions and billions of guns that's in our country, guess where they're from? They estimate 70% of them are from the United States. And in particular, there are some weapons dealers that are in Arizona, that are in Texas, that the Mexican government points to. And the ATF has even investigated and said, yes, we know that these are the problems. The cartels are sending straw men in there, right? Fake ID, fake everything. And it's like, guys, you know that the cartel is coming in here and buying up these weapons from you. You know it. And not only that, they're accusing Smith and Wesson, Glock, some of these countries, Beretta, of making cartel-friendly weapons that you can remove the serial number from easily. I think one weapon, I think an AR-15, that there's one company that's putting El Jefe on them, and I don't know if that's a decorative label or what it is, but they're saying you are marketing this at the cartel. The problem is that for a federal gun dealer to be sued, they have to know that they are violating some law. And the way that the allegations were initially made, and as most lawsuits go, a lawsuit, you have a good faith accusation, and then you can conduct what's called discovery. You can take depositions and try to build your case. But the question is, at the outset of this, is there enough evidence to put these gun manufacturers on the hook for knowing that they're selling these things to the bad guys? And that's where this thing gets really super duper muddy.
And one of the things that you write in your notes is this challenges how the American firearms industry has openly operated in broad daylight for years. I think something like putting El Jefe on a gun is pretty blatant.
I mean, that's one of the things that they're bringing up in this lawsuit. And look, I mean, you've got. I don't think there's any question. I don't even think the gun dealers, the manufacturers, I don't think that they dispute that the cartel has a really good chunk of American weapons. The gun industry is obviously pointing at Mexico, saying, "Well, it's your country, you police it." And they're also saying, look, how is this different from, can you sue Michelob Ultra for a DWI where somebody dies? At what point does the liability begin and end, right? And then the Mexican government is saying, well, we have to do this because your ATF isn't doing it for you. So yes, it's a very much a reverse thrusters, right? You're blaming America, we're blaming Mexico for a lot of the illegal traffic and a lot of the crime that comes here. And Mexico, they're doing the same thing and saying, yeah, well, we have to deal with all of your weapons, America, because you guys are looking the other way. I don't know that our courts are going to provide Mexico. I think the Supreme Court does toss this case based on the oral arguments and the questioning, because I wasn't just watching my basketball tapes and my Knicks Raptors. You know, I was kind of listening to the Supreme Court stuff too, but that's kind of, it's weird. I'm sorry.
$10 billion lawsuit, $10 billion. So you think they're going to toss it?
Yeah. I think it goes away. They already lost at a lower court. The federal law, which bars lawsuits against weapon creators, is pretty comprehensive, as you might think. It was passed in 2005 under the Bush administration. You can sue a gun manufacturer if the weapon is faulty, right? If it doesn't operate like it's supposed to and people get injured. You can sue them, as they did in Sandy Hook, if you are marketing it specifically for a purpose that you know is wrong. That was what the Sandy Hook plaintiffs used and got a pretty sizable settlement for. This one's a little different. The Mexican government is saying, you guys know that these dealers that are on the border are selling these illegals, and you still sell it to them. Why? And it's an interesting argument, but again, I don't know that this will be the way that they get there ultimately.
Okay.